thought I uploaded the right one. And I'm like, really? The wrong one is still on there. But forgive me, I am my own best friend. So we are going to have some bumps and bruises on this technical journey. But with that, I have a special guest that has agreed to join me this morning. I'm very excited. And I'm going to bring her up on the stage now. Thank you, Conswella, for joining me this morning.
Oh, Grand Rising, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Can you hear
Uh,
me okay?
yes, I can. I can hear you fine. So I want you to just introduce yourself to the people. Let them know a little bit about you, what you're working on, and ways we can follow you. And then we'll get into our conversation after.
Okay, so I'm Conswella Davis. I am the director of Freedmen Descendants Advocacy Group, as well as Goddess Health and Wellness, LLC. I'm working on many of things at this point in time. I just completed a white paper, so I will be publishing that on the birthright citizenship and freedmen. So I think that's very important for us to discuss. And then, of course, I'm always working as far as being a mental health professional in mental health and wellness, and helping our community to embrace mental health and wellness, considering what's happening in our society. 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You never know what may happen that can take you into these different spaces. And with that, you can find me. I am Sway Me on Twitter. I've been Sexy Raw as well. We'll see how much longer they'll allow me to be on the platform with some of the things that I say and do, since I'm an activist and advocate. So yeah, that's some of the things that I've been working on. And thank you for having me, Shaq.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. And a lot of people do call me Shaq. So I don't want people to be like, well, she calls herself Dr. Nichols. Yes, I do. But a lot of people know me as Shaq as well. It's a little bit easier, rolls off the tongue, especially when people are yelling at me down the hallway. So I had another guest on, Dr. Sear, and she had mentioned that May is actually Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, it
And with
is.
you being in that space, I wanted you to just share with us maybe some things that we can look out for ourselves mentally, because I look at the whole body in person, right? Mental, physical, and spiritual.
Y- y-
So I wanted you to, speak upon that, whatever topic in that
Oh,
realm.
sure. Oh, sure. Okay. So I like to promote mental health is 365 days of the year, as you just heard me state. There are certain things that are going on in our society that is anxiety inducing, right? So many of us may suffer from the anxiety of others as well, because it's been kind of projected onto us in ways. So I like to say meditation, deep relaxation, breathing. There's
Mhm.
some things that I do or teach and facilitate, educate others about. Being a comedic yoga instructor, we believe in the breathing and the rule of four breathing. So meditation, taking time, prayer can be a form of meditation. And some of us, may implement a prayer. So when you're implementing your prayer, take some deep breaths along with your implementing your prayer. Another thing you can do as well is visualization. When you are in these spaces, sometimes we can continuously have the thoughts, um, and they continue, right? So what if you visualize you being on the beach or in a space with someone that you feel comfortable and safe and happy, and go take that memory and go back into that memory, and just you'll see how you can change how you feel and how you think if you just bring up a happy memory or a peaceful time that you experience with yourself or with others, family.
Okay, yeah, and those are good tips to have in the practical, right? And it's something you can do anywhere, whether you're in the car or the office, you know, anytime, anywhere.
And
Sometimes,
free.
yes, and free, definitely, right? And a lot of times we really don't value our time, and it's one of the most precious things we have, because there's really no value on it, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Yes, and that's the one thing I love about meditation, right? I encourage my clients and patients to meditate in the morning and at night before they go to bed, because then you're arising or rising with a calmness, right? A clarity. And when you go to bed, you're helping to relax the body and the mind so that you sleep better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And those things are so important. Thank you for those tips. So definitely, like she stated, she is Sway Me on X. And thank you for, that part of women and wellness. Usually I take a little bit more time, but there's some things that I want to talk to you about because we'll probably go to the top of the hour with this discussion because, we've met, it's almost been 2 years now. And when we met, people are campaigning and we're, learning about all these politics. And along with that is learning about reparations.
Mhm.
And now we've got these Supreme Court justices
Mhm.
making decisions. And I hope they're tracking what they're doing, if that makes any sense, because they've recently, uh, done something that I think could actually help in the 14th Amendment argument. So I'm going to switch the view right now and I'm going to bring up this. Hopefully, everybody will be able to see it well. Got to make sure I got it big enough. This is one of those things. It's like, is it big enough for everybody to see?
I,
That's hanging with me. So the Supreme Court approved largest immigration status revocation in decades. And what they did was the order allowed DHS to proceed with ending protected legal status of the 350 Venezuelans. So they were like, okay, we're going along with that. But what really stood out to me was that I need to find it in this order. So they've got the protected status. They granted Trump administration the right to remove temporary protected status and procurement order. I'm trying to find it because what they did and what I read earlier is that they said that a lower court could not tell basically the executive administration what to do.
so are you saying that they, in this particular case, they decided to address the injunctions that the lower courts are implementing against the Trump administration?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So thank you for, summering that. I was like, wait a minute, I had this morning. But yeah, so per curiam order in response to the decision of a North California District Court Judge bearing Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem's February notice that would have terminated Biden era 18-month extension of the protected status for Venezuelans nationals in April. So they're shooting down the TPS, but by them doing this, they are basically stating that the lower courts cannot tell the executive branch what to do. Now, that is part of the argument going on with birthright citizenship because it was brought by a lower court. It wasn't brought by the Supreme Court.
mhm.
And so they're having this injunction. And I mean, even one of the justices said, like, okay, so say if we pass this, how do people even have the ability for recourse or even having redress, right, of birthright citizenship to the court? None of this is making sense. And I think it's because it's been built on a whole bunch of lies that are falling apart. But I'll let you take it.
Yes, the executive branch has the right to decide what the immigration policy is along with Congress. So when Trump initiated that executive order on birthright citizenship, then there was a firestorm between the immigration attorneys that are working with the lower courts. Of course, they went to the lower courts, right, in the states to get a junction or get some kind of injunction to stop Trump from utilizing the birthright citizenship. However, he has that right as the president. Every president has had to deal with immigration since the 80s. And I think it was Reagan that gave the illegals amnesty in the 80s, right?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So now here we are. We know that there's a loophole that they're using via the 14th Amendment. And the president says, no, I am here to uphold the Constitution. And we are going to now cut this off because it is really unlawful, illegal, and unconstitutional. And you see where the lower courts, the judges, well, you would have thought they would have aligned with Trump, but instead they're aligning with these organizations. And what I found interesting in last Thursday's oral arguments is that they are utilizing pseudonyms for and bringing these cases via these various organizations because you know why? Those are illegal immigrants that they're representing.
Right.
And they really don't have a case.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I just think it's such a mess. You know, I understand to a certain extent people challenging the government with certain rights, right? But usually those people should be citizens of this country. I think this is where people, their jaws kind of drop and say, how can people who came here illegally, first of all, you're committed a crime. I mean, temporary protected status, and then we have paroled in the United States. We have these statuses and they do exist, right? You're covering these people who have committed a crime, and then you're defending them. They still committed the crime. You're defending them and you're giving them all the rights that citizens have, because now you're saying, well, they have due process. No, they don't. They were never citizens here. Because if that's the case, then why does my citizenship matter? You know what I'm saying? Why does it even matter that I fight to not commit crimes, right? That I fight to be a good citizen.
When we commit crimes, we're held accountable.
That part. Okay. That very accountable. Even more so in certain circumstances, depending on the hue in the melanin of your skin. We'll just put it that way. Okay. So my whole thing with this is like, wow, we're really here. We're really hearing arguments where people are saying, well, yeah, their child was born on the soil, so that makes their child a citizen. No, it doesn't. And then they want to use the 14th Amendment to support their argument. But at the same time, they want to dismiss the slaves that even brought it forth. I was like, okay, without the Emancipation Proclamation and slavery, why are we even here?
Exactly. And that is the problem that I'm seeing, in that they're attempting to erase Americans. You know, and in that, I've been stating it's unfortunate, and I know a lot of people will not like this. And when I say this, I see them as supporting human trafficking and fraud, as well as there's an infiltration in our government with immigrants that now want to circumvent our laws, or they want to misinterpret our laws. So then it applies to them and their people, so that it's easier for them to get their people here on the soil.
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, that's the nefarious part that's happening. And we're paying for it with our tax dollars. By the way, I just want to let people know these non-governmental organizations, they have contracts with our federal government to do this. So not only have courts been weaponized, our own tax dollars are being used to do it. It's disgusting. You know, I have these little chats with my audience in here, and we're friends now. You know, we can have all these conversations. I'm like, y'all, this is crazy. They just, you know, sending us up the, you know, creek without a paddle. I don't like it. You know, I do not like it. But I wanted to pull this one up because this from Newsweek, it actually breaks down some few things. So I'm going to read through this a little bit. It says the Supreme Court on Monday sided with Trump and the Trump administration, allowing it to end temporary protected status for approximately 350,000 Venezuelans, putting them at risk for deportation. The decision pauses a lower court ruling from the San Francisco that had extended those protections, which would have otherwise expired last month. The Trump administration ended TPS for Venezuelans without conducting an analysis of the economic, public health, and human rights conditions in the country, failing to include a single footnote to support its claim in the Federal Register notice that conditions had improved in Venezuela. Stuart Anderson, executive director of the National Foundation for American Policy, told Newsweek. So, not that I'm trying to be a cold hearted person, but I don't care. You don't go here and you need to go home. You shouldn't have been here in the first place, taking up
Well,
resources.
didn't the Venezuelan president say he sent all of his criminals here?
Yeah. And we agreed to it, apparently. Apparently, we agreed to it because they don't want them back.
Oh,
Yeah. That's why some people are getting sent to El Salvador, and that's a whole nother discussion.
mm.
That's a whole other mess that's going on. But that's why a lot of these people are scared that they're losing this TPS status because that could happen to them. They may not go back to Venezuela. They may have to go back to a neighboring country because Venezuela doesn't want them back. Yeah. The TPS
So
decision was go
when
ahead.
your own country, nation doesn't want you back in the country, what does that say?
Yeah, it says a lot without saying it. It really, really does. It's like you want to dump people off. Now, I was saying the other day, when I was traveling to Aruba, Venezuela is about 15 miles, about a 15-mile trek, that ocean spans. And there are people from Venezuela that constantly try to get on Arubian soil, constantly. And you know what they do? They get them and they dry them off and they put them on a little boat and they take it back home. There's no due process. We are not having a court hearing. I'm not arresting you. I'm not giving you 3 hots at a cot. I am taking you home. Period. And that's what we should be doing. There is a right way to come into this country, and it's not people giving you excuses, TPS, and, paroled in the United States. Those are excuses to allow criminal behavior, and it needs to end. So the TPS decision was likely also unlawful on other grounds. The Supreme Court may now have permitted the administration to achieve its goal of deporting or detaining hundreds of thousands of people without officials following U.S. law. And so this is conflated. What do you mean without them following U.S. law? They are following the law. These people need to be deported. They're here illegally. That is following the law. But
And that's why I'm loving the oral arguments with the Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah,
it puts them in the space as the main characters to see if they're going to align with the Constitution.
yeah, it really does. It's very, very telling. So they have this, why it matters, TPS, such as civil unrest, natural disasters, to live and work legally in the U.S. The High Court's order, issued with only one justice dissenting, temporarily lifts the safeguard for Venezuelan nationals while litigation continues. So I was like, if you want to fight for your rights from your own soil. Don't fight for your rights from here. Don't use my resources. Go home and
Well,
fight for the right to come back here.
Well, that's the immigration attorneys. And most of them,
Yeah.
if you probably drill down, they're immigrants too.
Oh, more than likely. More than likely. So what to know? It says no opinion was issued by Supreme Court justices Monday, simply a one-page order on the pending case stating that the lower court stay on revoking TPS Venezuelans was overturned. Yeah, because it's illegal. The lower court cannot tell the executive branch, you can't deport anybody. Excuse me? Really? Yes, he can.
And during the oral arguments, they stated that they've already talked to the lower courts before about these injunctions. That was the argument as well, that so many of the lower courts are implementing these injunctions, and they have increased over the years against the various administrations.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I already thought they had hammered this out when they were dealing with Colorado. And I think it was another case. And they finally, at the end of it, had to say, okay, not that the president is a king, but he does have executive powers in office to get his job done. And you cannot impede his job. I thought we already had this conversation, but here we are. And I'm like, okay, y'all really going to do this? I mean, I'm glad you're doing it because you look crazy.
Well, it's un-American.
It really is.
And I love, again, I'll keep saying it, the fact that the Trump administration is clarifying jurisdiction.
Yes.
Right? And
Mhm.
allegiance.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yes. So liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the only high court jurist to say she would deny the government's application for relief. Interesting.
Well, she didn't know what is a woman.
Okay. For me, and this is just me, I'd like to see all the justices arrested, but that's just me. Now, some people may not agree with me. And the only reason I'm saying that is because they are in defiance of the law. Like all of these wonderful little cases, there should be 2 words spoken: thrown out. That's it.
I agree.
We are throwing these out because you're not going to come here with your lies and try to justify people being on this soil illegally in the first place. A lot of these laws that were written violate our 10th Amendment, which says you can't put in place any laws that violate laws already on the books. And you've done it. And you've done it with policy. You call people residents. You keep doing this. And the people that are in the seats, that are justices, that are supposed to interpret the law, that keep legislating from the bench. And here we are. That's why we're here.
Again, I'm going to state that unfortunately, we have an infiltration of immigrants that now want to purposefully and intentionally change the interpretations
Yes.
of our laws and our Constitution so
Yeah.
that it appeases them to do what they want to do on our soil.
Mhm.
When the Declaration of Independence has already warned us, when we start seeing these actions and behaviors as Americans, we have a responsibility to remove these beings or change it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And people want to add more justices. That's like, I don't want to add more of them. I need them switched out. I need people that are going to be constitutionalists, which is what they're supposed to be. Like, that's their job.
Mhm.
Their job is to hear things that actually determine the lives of citizens, not non-citizens. That's why it's frustrating that we're here, because they're fighting for people who not only disrespected our laws, they're disrespecting the people that are in line doing this the right way. You know what I mean?
Correct. And they're just disrespecting the United States. They cannot be American. I agree with our late great ancestor Barbara Jordan. You're
Mhm.
not entitled to anything in America,
Right.
especially if you're an immigrant. You have to align with the values, with the philosophy here that we've already established. It's bewildering to me that people come here and think that Americans must acquiesce and capitulate and coalesce with them.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the liberal mindset, right?
Mhm.
They came here and they're just like, well, these other people rolled out the red carpet for us. What do you mean I can't wave my flag from my country? Because you're here. Because apparently, you went through the mountains to get here, but now that you're here, you have no respect for the country. And that's the problem. You really didn't have to fight the fight that others that are doing immigration properly have had to go through. And now I see and understand why it takes 5 to 10 years for some of these people to actually become citizens. I mean, I don't like it, right? But I understand it, because
Well,
there is so much vetting that needs to be done.
exactly. And you know what? I'm of the mind that the 5 to 10 years is good, because then you are having to learn America.
Hmm.
You are having to now learn how to assimilate
Yep.
into the culture. And you just can't come here or think you can just come here and I get to dictate about what happens in this country on this soil when you don't have any history here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will say I'm all for immigration moratorium, at
Yeah.
least 20 years. Some people are saying 50 to 200, but
We
I
need
will
it.
say at least 20 years.
Yeah, we need it because we need a realignment in our country because things like TPS, right? And paroled in the United States, those are vehicles for backdoor amnesty because they will bring people in here like that. And they'll be like, well, these people were under the impression that by coming here and having this status, they could now, apply for citizenship or get citizenship, right? And so it's a backdoor way of having amnesty without saying it because they just want, the president and all the people in Congress to throw their hands up and say, well, there's too many people here. We can't send them back. What are we going to do? Oh my goodness. It's like, I tell you what you can do. Look, Mr. Holman is on the job and would do it himself if he could. And he's trying to rally everybody he can to send people back home because he knows how important it is. But our Congress, it's important for them to step up too.
And just the fact that humanitarian parole is something that gives them citizenship after what, 18 months, 2 years?
Yes. Yes. That needs to be stopped and ended immediately.
Yes. And you
Immediate.
have individuals that have served time, wrongfully convicted, and they still have to fight to remove those crimes or expungements off their records,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
even getting a job. It's a
Yeah.
hindrance for them.
Yeah. 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 So, this is the hot topic right now. Okay. Immigration. And it's a real hot topic because, like I said, it's a slap in the face to the citizens of this country, along with being a slap in the face to those who have gone about getting their citizenship the right way, right? And like I said, they're in line for 5 to 10 years. And then you want to do this to what you said, humanitarian parole, which again is another vehicle of backdoor amnesty. And these are the things we got to bring up to the administration and say, hey, any vehicle that allows somebody to just circumvent our immigration laws and become a citizen need to be stopped now, immediately.
Well, that includes the military, because you go
Hmm.
into the military now,
Yep.
right? They can
Yep.
get citizenship from serving.
Yes. Yes. I said any and all vehicles.
Mhm, mhm.
That,
Yeah,
and
I
if
agree.
that's another one, shut that down too.
Right.
Because again, no, we
Mhm.
have immigration laws. We have a naturalization process. Period. We already have things on the books.
I
And to
learned,
go
oh,
ahead.
excuse me. No, I learned that, and this was from Mark Rubio, a Cuban. He stated that some of his people that have sought asylum here will go back to Cuba and visit family.
Wow. Wow. So were they really seeking asylum? Is that what it was all about? Or did we just say the pretty words so we could, kind of skip the line a little bit? I'm just saying. Just saying. Well, thank you so much for joining me here on Women in Wellness Wednesday. I love to chop it up with you. So if there's any political things that you want to talk about, I know that everybody's looking forward to tomorrow, hearing some more of these oral arguments from the Supreme Court justice. So again, definitely follow Sway Me at X. And do you have anything in closing you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes, I will. Again, I will be publishing a white paper. I'll send it to you, Miss Shack. And then I would love for everyone to support our petition that we are delineating and ethno-aggregating as a founding population of Americans, so that we can have our own office of Freedmen, or Freedmen Bureau of Freedmen Affairs, and that we can enumerate our people And also with that, we can begin to restructure, reestablish complete reconstruction under this administration and move forward and hey, build some more towns, start manufacturing again for ourselves, and sit at the table of the government without others representing us, because we are noticing so many are coming here and due to the humelanin, the skin color, are stating that they are us, but they are not a founding population of Americans. So we must, unfortunately, due to this, what we're seeing right now, this infiltration of immigrants, make sure we are separating ourselves as a founding population. So I ask for that support. You can look me up on X, and I have the petition out there to sign.
Okay, great. I'll make sure to post that when I post the clips later on of our segment. So, again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again.
Thank you. Bye bye.